So after seeing the awesomeness that was Pearl, I went and saw Running the Bases. Another one of those movies of what the fuck is this? um, a movie that I didn't know existed until like a couple weeks ago. And that seems to be a recurring theme for the next few weeks. Because I'm looking at like the listings for movies that are coming out. You're like, oh, what the fuck is this? Never heard of this. Never heard of that. What's this? I don't know. I was like, well, last time I had a movie like this, where it was a movie I didn't hear about, it was Unfavorable Odds. It ended up being the worst movie I've seen ever. So I was like, I don't know. I did get a chance to check a trailer for this before I watched it. Like watched this movie like I did with Unfavorable Odds, and unlike Favorable Odds, when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh, it looks like it's competently made. Like I can tell from the trailer from Unfavorable Odds, like, oh god, this looks really fucking bad. This just looked like, well, it's your stereotypical religious movie. And hey, it's been a while since I've reviewed a religious movie, and you can tell I'm wearing a shirt that says "Y'all need Jesus," so I was all set. And weirdly enough, this was a crowded theater. Apparently, I'm the only person that never heard of this fucking thing. I guess it's all a bunch of old people. That's probably the young. I definitely was the youngest person in there. Um, and was it anything special? Was it worth staying after watching the awesomeness that was Pearl? No, really, it wasn't. It was okay. It was generic. It was inoffensive. It also wasn't that great. That's the best way I can put this movie is that it's your stereotypical religious movie, but it's also not an offensive one, so it's not really that new or newsworthy or noteworthy. Even though there's stuff I could talk about, um, it's just a movie that I saw and it ended. It began and then it ended. The end. There's my review. Bye. No, um, I mean the acting. Like I said, this movie is well. This is not like if you're expecting like Unfavorable Odds, where I'm gonna rant, rave, and talk about how awful this movie is. No, it's not. It is well made. There are some funny shit and unintentionally funny shit in the movie that was pretty amateurish, but not as bad as like Unfavorable Odds, where apparently the people that made that movie didn't know how movies work. But these seemed like people that knew kind of how to make a movie for the most part. Um, the acting is fine for the most part. It is very melodramatic. Like between watching this and having watched uh, After Ever Happy, I just watched two straight days of melodramas. One was a like 50 Shades of Grey knockoff, and this is like a religious melodrama, and they're pretty much have a lot of the same fucking problems where it's just a lot of overacting or underacting or decent acting. I said, the acting wasn't terrible. Like I've seen. And the main guy was good, and his family was good, and yeah, like I said, it's a heartwarming movie. And the kid who was played Ryan, I could not stand that kid. I really couldn't. He's the obvious fat comedic relief who does jokes and does the worm on the baseball field because the worm is relevant in 2022. Because it's hip with the kids. This movie's trying to be hip with the kids, I guess. I don't know. Um, and like, there's this is one of those movies that like I just this movie hits a lot of the checkpoints with fucking like religious movies that you expect with a religious movie. Uh, this movie is kind of all over the place. Okay, I'll do what I do. I forgot. I'm like this review, but this movie is all over the place, like this review. Um, I know what I want to talk about. So the editing in this movie is a little fucking bonkers. Um, so this movie begins. The guy standing on a baseball field talking about, I can't believe this life has led me to this. He's looking at the sky and God has led me to this. And then it just cuts to 20 years earlier. I'm like, All right. I said, who the fuck is this? These two dumbasses. And it's the guy you see at the beginning as a teenager. A teenager. These are supposed to be teenagers. They look like they're 30. And like 30 is supposed to be playing six, I think 17. Whatever. I mean, it's something we can always make fun of not just religious movies, but it seems like religious movies do that a lot, where they play like have like 30-year-olds playing 17-year-olds. It's pretty fucking hilarious. Um, it's like those kids are not teenagers. Fuck you. It's like, but it shows he and his brother are like two really big high school baseball players that love playing baseball and they're obsessed with baseball. They have a friend who's a girl who is a tomboy. You know she's a tomboy because she turned her hat backwards. She's a badass. She does. There's a couple times she does that fucking thing. Um, it's really fucking dumb. Like that's her characteristic, like the beginning of the movie. Um, but they're these brothers that love baseball. And they play baseball together, and they play on a baseball team. And at the beginning of the movie, one brother is a really good pitcher, and he has like all these college scouts watching their game. And the brother goes up the bat, who's been pitching, and he hits a ball, and he runs the bases, and he runs around third base, and he collapses and has a heart attack and dies. That's the beginning of the movie, people. And so it's the movie about the brother that survived, and that's the guy you see. He has a heart condition too, and he can't play baseball anymore. Even though it depresses him, and he goes to Christian college or whatever, and then like he's watching the baseball team on the Christian college, and he's trying to help, he's trying to watch them play, and then he kind of helps try to coach the catcher. He's like, "Good eye, coach," and then it cuts to him getting married to that girl at the beginning of the movie. I'm like, whoa, what the hell? I was like, well, that was a very abrupt cut. And then, bam, it cuts to him like 20 years later from what you saw earlier, where he is a coach of like a national championship team, high school baseball team. I'm like, whoa, this movie keeps just like jumping, like the jolts, like how much it jumps. Like, what the hell? Like, it's like and he gets recruited by this Texas school to coach their like losing baseball team. Um, and like like they have to explain, oh, you won like 7-9 championships. I'm like, would have been nice to see that. Like, what the fuck? Like, you just skip 20 years and say fuck it. Like, we're just gonna give you the backstory here. Like like I said, the editing is fucking weird in this movie sometimes, or like to the point like the Ryan kid, uh, he he goes over to the coach's son, or goes has a sleepover at coach's house, and his friends with the coach's son, and his coach's son saying starts reading him the Bible because Christian people, that's all they do is talk about Jesus and read the Bible, and that's all they do. And they don't do anything else apparently. That's one thing I hate about these fucking Christian movies. Like, are they just like what? Do they really think that like Christians just don't do anything else but talk about Jesus every 20 seconds of their lives? Apparently. I mean, there are people like that. They're fucking crazy people. But I'm not religious, by the way, if you haven't figured that out. But I'm not judging you if you are. So calm down, fucking Karens. Um, but like it's like this. Like that's this one thing I've always noticed. Like that's all the dialogue ever is in a lot of these movies. Just talking about Jesus. Talk about Jesus. Like, is there anything else you can talk about? Is there any characteristics you have other than that you love Jesus? It's really annoying. But yeah, the Ryan kid, he reads the Bible, And he then like cuts to him being baptized by his coach. What? And his dad didn't know. What? And his dad is pissed because he's not. He denounced God after his wife died. Of course, one of those characters. Check. There's another check off your checklist of stereotypical characters you see in a fucking religious movie. A character that doubts God, the existence of God because of a tragedy. We've seen that a million times before, and he's pissed at the coach for basically teaching his son, making his son a Christian, which he does have a valid point. Because, dude, your job is not to preach to my kid. Your job is to be a coach, asshole. Like, there's a separation between church and state. There's a reason why there is. But also at the same time, I have a hard time believing that really this would be that. It becomes a problem. And so, for this coach, because now there are people against him. And by the way, this movie takes place in Texas, which is a very religious state. I have a hard time believing that this guy. I'll just get into spoilers. This guy ends up in jail for like the last 40 minutes of this movie. The coach does, because of like his preaching, and he does this thing where he runs the bases. That's why it's called running the bases. He runs his bases because his brother collapsed and died of a heart attack, which seems like a bad idea. To fucking do what your brother did to cause him to have a heart attack. You have the same problem. But yeah, he is told there's a city ordinance. You can't fucking do these preaching on the city land or you're gonna get arrested or you're gonna get fined. And he keeps doing it and he gets arrested. Now, he was breaking, again, he's breaking the law. There's a law, there's an ordinance that says he can't do that. And he kept fucking, but of course, it's religious property. It's religious, what the fuck you want to call it? The religious people are the victims, and they're, they have this victim complex, and you see this every time in all these fucking horror movies, in these religious movies, that they are being persecuted, the persecution of Christians. And you see it's like there's another check off the checklist of stereotypical religious movie themes or characters. Wow, they're pretty much checking them all off. Like, I was like, because I remember like going into an hour into the movie, I'm like, what? How much more? It's like there's an hour left of this movie, and then that's when the persecution plot line started. And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess this is a thing now. Even though there is some valid reasons why he would get in trouble because they told him there's a law, but whatever, they're Christian. They don't have to follow rules, I guess. Whatever. I know I'm gonna piss so many people off by saying that, but fuck it, I don't care. Also, it's pretty funny with there's some, even though this movie is better made than Unfavorable Odds, the movie does have some pretty funny fucking things, like when the two two ball players are fighting with each other, and this horrible fake sounding punching noises that are made, they're so fucking horribly fake. That's pretty funny. Or like the black eyes that are around the kid's eye, the one kid's eye, that was fucking amateur hour. Like, have they ever seen a black eye and what it looks like? Like, I don't think they did. And I like the fact that, like, the coach goes into prison and he gets his ass beat. Like, they cut away, like, it's gonna be like this gruesome beating he gets at one point in the prison because there's this inmate that's, like, targeted him. Probably got raped by this guy too, but they didn't outright say that. But I'm just saying, I'm going to the dark area with that. And he just has like a little bruise, like this little tiny bruise on his eye. That's all he has. Like, sure, this guy was like twice his size, like a big dude. I'm like, he would have fucked you up, dude. Yeah, this movie is. like I said, it's just generic. It's fine. Like I said, I like picking on this movie a little bit. Like, but it's not that bad. It's fine. And like I said, after like seeing like stuff like Unfavorable Odds, like there's no reason this movie needed to be in a theater. No, I don't know why the fuck my theater is just picking and choosing some of the weirdest fucking movies. Like next week is Railroad. Was it Railroad? What the fuck is it? Railway Children, ain't it? Wait, is it Railway Children or something like that? I'll look it up. Yeah, Railway Children. What the fuck is that? Apparently, it's a sequel to a movie from the 70s, 1970s. A movie that took 52. A sequel to a movie that was 52 years old. What? And it's from Britain. What? Like, who? What? What? Does anybody give a shit? Like, why am I getting this? Well, that See Them Run movie is not coming, or Breaking is not coming to my theater. I didn't get Marcel to Shell with shoes on because I got stuff like Unfavorable Odds, so I get stuff like shit like Clerks 3 is not fucking getting another extended week, but After Ever Happy does. What the fuck? Like, I give up. I give up. Like, is my movie theater just trying to go out of business? I'm starting to determine they are. I don't know. It's like I said, I don't hate this movie, but this movie does not need to be in theaters. Why is it in theaters when there's other shit that you could be putting out? That's my problem. That's why I have problems with the movies like this, and especially Unfavorable Odds. Is that there's better movies, they're better made, confidently made movies that deserve to be on a big screen. God damn, I got worked up. Prey. The movie that is a prequel to Predator is on Hulu. Hellraiser, they gotta do Hellraiser. It's going on Hulu. Are movie theaters just trying to just die? Like, I don't know anymore, dude. I just don't fucking know. And I keep ending on a depressing note. So, yeah. This weekend I got Don't Worry Darling and Railway Children. Again, I don't know what the fuck Railway Children is. Never heard of it until like a couple weeks ago. And this is going to be a recurring theme for the next few weeks, people. And also, before I forget, Monday, Regal is playing a mystery movie. I have no idea what it is. I will be seeing it. And I will review it. I probably will have to review it the next morning because I have to work the next day. So, really early the next day. Pretty much when I get home from the movie, I might have to go right to fucking bed. So, I don't know what it is. Apparently it's rated R. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes. That's all I know. Yeah. It's a movie that has not been released yet. So, we'll see. But that's reviews coming up here shortly. And until then, I'll talk to you guys later.